Welcome to the Tuesday, April 6, 2021 regular meeting of the Walnut Creek City Council. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Brown Act as currently in effect under the State Emergency Services Act, the Governor's Emergency Declaration related to COVID-19, and the Governor's Executive Order N2920 issued on March 17, 2020 that allows attendance by members of the City Council, city staff, and the public to participate and conduct the meeting by video conference. Video conference locations are not open to the public. As some attendees may be participating in their first Walnut Creek City Council meeting or their first teleconference meeting, I wanted to welcome everyone and talk briefly about the public comment process. For each agenda item, there will be an opportunity for public comment on the item. Thus, if you desire to speak to an item on the agenda this evening, please hold your comments until the council considers that item. Additionally, we have a section on the agenda titled Public Communications, which is for public comments for items not on the agenda. Any comments during public communication should not relate to an item that is on the agenda this evening. Consistent with Section 9.5 of the City Council Handbook, 30 minutes will be initially allocated for public communications for items not on the agenda. Additional time for public communications for items not on the agenda will be provided at the end of the meeting if necessary. This process is consistent with Section 9.5 of the City Council Handbook and will allow for all public comments to be received during the meeting for items not on the agenda. When I open the public comment period, use the raised hand feature or press *9 if you're connected by audio only, which will alert staff that you have a public comment you would like to provide. We ask that everyone who wishes to speak on an item, please use the raised hand feature to state your intent to speak when the item is called. Please wait your turn and once brought into the meeting, state your name and city of residence for the record. Please keep in mind that this is a city business meeting. The City Council has adopted rules of decorum to ensure that meetings are conducted efficiently and effectively, and that all members of the public have a full, fair, and equal opportunity to be heard. All remarks should be addressed to the City Council. Please do not use profanity during your comments. As the Council is conducting these meetings via video conference, and given the COVID-19 pandemic and the increased number of speakers that have wanted to make comments on various issues during our meetings and consistent with city policies related to public comments, each speaker will have 2 minutes to make your remarks. The Zoom feed for each speaker will cut off automatically at 2 minutes. The council will accept oral comments. Written comments submitted have been and will be posted to the city's website for public review and are included in the meeting record, but will not be separately read into the record. To provide a live remote public comment, join the Zoom video conference meeting. The meeting ID is 943-1312-4 4038. And the passcode is 571333. Should you choose to not provide comments but would like to view the meeting, you may do so in one of the following ways. YouTube Live, you can visit the City of Walnut Creek's YouTube channel. Cable broadcast, Comcast Channel 28 in the incorporated Walnut Creek area, or Rossmore Channel 26, Wave Channel 29, and AT&T Uverse Channel 99, or live stream online on the city's website. At this time, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Darling.
I'm here.
Councilmember Haskew.
Here.
Councilmember Silva.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Francois.
Here.
And Mayor Wilk.
Here. All right, we have everybody here. I do see it looks like we have Congressman DeSaulnier on, so why don't we keep to the meeting agenda if that's the case? And we have a presentation and a congressional update from our own Congressman Mark DeSaulnier. I would like him to be able to provide the update.
Thank you, Kevin. I apologize. I've got 4 computers in front of me and I've tried them all and I've finally succeeded to get on. I started 15 minutes ago. I know the drill, so forgive me. I've lost my local government intelligence, I guess. Thanks for taking the time. I used to do these in my previous offices, and then when I got elected to Congress, these offer to meet with city councils and school boards when I was in the legislature and on the county board. But when I got elected to Congress, the logistics got a little difficult. So now, thanks to Zoom, we've started again. And I think you're the 4th or 5th that took me up on it. And I'll be brief and be happy to answer any questions because I've gone over your agenda and you look reasonably busy. It's bringing back all kinds of memories. So it's been a busy few months of the Biden administration. We passed the American Rescue Act, and that benefited you according to the Oversight Committee, of which I'm a member, that has jurisdiction over the Congress or the House and local and state government. That, as I read your allocation, it's a little under $9 million. So that was an accomplishment I think we're all proud of in the Congress. Speaker Pelosi was sensational on this, insisting that it would end the Biden administration on helping the economy recover as hopefully we come out of COVID. So I hope that was helpful. And a lot of other good things in there. We've had a couple of town halls for small businesses in particular, and people just in general, for people to access the resources that are in there in the rescue plan and in the previous plans we passed. The one on small businesses was very well attended, and we've followed up with all of the local chambers of commerce to see if we can do more to help facilitate small businesses access that money. And I know that's an important issue for you and for the retailers in Walnut Creek, all businesses. And the $1,400 we've been helping constituents who can access that stimulus funds, along with, unfortunately, people who are collecting unemployment, and the extension we passed through September. So those are all important. We are now beginning the discussion on the details of an infrastructure bill. We have contacted all the city offices in the county to specifically see if there are projects for infrastructure that you would like us to advocate for in Walnut Creek. In this instance, your mayor and I have already had conversations about this. So thank you to your staff for helping with us to facilitate that conversation. Very, very excited about the infrastructure bill. It's going to be a heavy lift, but I'm still hopeful that we'll have bipartisan support in both houses. And if not, I really hope that, for me at least, that we use the majority vote function in both houses because I think we've delayed our investment in infrastructure in this country way too long. The pay for has always been difficult because we didn't do the gas tax, just like the state of California didn't, having it permanently indexed for inflation. So the purchasing power, as you know, has gone down over time. When I started in politics, the formula was 75, 80% federal funds, and the maintenance of effort was local and state money. That, of course, has flipped over the last 25, 30 years. And I'm hopeful that we can change that formula again. So lots of good things in this. And then lastly, I've convened a number of meetings about how do we transition in Contra Costa County, because we have a heavy fossil fuel footprint. There are very few deep water ports on the West Coast as opposed to the East Coast of the United States. And as the economy, the Pacific Rim economy has become more and more important to this country, and actually now supersedes the East Coast and the European Atlantic in many ways economy. These ports are very valuable. We want to work with the affected industry and the workforce to make sure that we, as we move more and more to renewables and alternative fuels, that we're ready for it and we have an honest discussion about the obstacles to that. And that's a big part of the infrastructure proposal by President Biden, that there's a lot of money for renewables and alternative fuels. I have 3 bills that we've shared with your staff. One is a grant programs for local communities that have fossil fuel imprints like Contra Costa to apply for federal funds. So we engage the EPA, the Commerce Department, the Labor Department, workforce investment boards to facilitate this. So, and local government, because we know that for the communities, and 3 of the 4 refineries in Contra Costa are in the county jurisdiction, with component parts of the old Shell refinery in Martinez in the incorporated area, and then Chevron in Richmond is all incorporated. But for the rest of the school districts and the municipal governments, they're important because they're regularly one of our larger property tax providers, and that has a big input for school districts because of Prop 99. But even for those districts or those municipalities that aren't impacted by property taxes, we know that the sales tax and the income tax is affected because of the multiplier effect of these facilities. So whenever in history we've changed energy sources, as a culture or cultures, we've had these displacement issues, and I just hope that we can be as prepared as possible and have some honest discussions. And not everybody's interests are the same, but they're important both for local government, the workforce, the environment. And if we do it right, I think we're very well positioned in Contra Costa to lead the country and the world on the transition to, in my view, more efficient fuels. So that's it. The 3 bills, just in a nutshell. One is the grant. Second is what's called Clean Corridors. It's a bill that I've introduced multiple times that would provide $3 billion for infrastructure for alternative fuels, both hydrogen and fuel cells and battery electric. It has gotten by some bipartisan interest. And then a bigger one is important, I think, for all of us in BART corridors and the terrific job you've done on TOD and continue to do in Walnut Creek in providing for affordable housing. You've done such a great job, but would provide more funding for that and incorporate what the Europeans and the Japanese and now the Chinese are doing around incentivizing TOD and what they call value capture. I think we would call it redevelopment and tax increment financing. But in Europe and in Asia, they take a more holistic view about all the revenues generated around particularly heavy rail. So those 3, we're hoping to get as much of this in the infrastructure bill or in reauthorization for transportation, which will come after the infrastructure bill, but a lot of it will be complementary. So I'll stop there. Any questions I can answer, but I want to thank you for taking the time. We've had a great relationship in the years I've been able to represent the city of Walnut Creek, and even before. I remember many hours spent in your city manager's office when Don Blubaugh, a dear friend, was the city manager and was so great to work with. on things from library to county services to how we could help with the state. So I'm proud to have the good fortune to represent you. And any questions, I'm happy to try to answer here. And if we can't answer them, we can continue the conversation.
Thank you, Congressman. We think we have a pretty great city manager now, too.
It's a long legacy of great city managers.
To fill along the way.
I think they were somewhat attracted by the sales tax generated, but never mind. And the political leadership.
Okay. Do we have any questions from council for the congressman? I don't see anybody raising their hand. I actually have a quick question. So you may be aware that one of our top priorities that we just voted on in the last couple of weeks is an update to our sustainable action plan. And combating climate change has been important to Walnut Creek and the residents of Walnut Creek. We've been a leader in the county on this and in the entire East Bay. How can we help to support some of the initiatives that you're working on in Congress and to continue to be leaders and a representative city in that respect that we can help you on?
Well, keep doing what you're doing. To your representatives on the regional agencies, encourage them to engage in the conversation, because we've got lots of good examples around the Bay Area, you being one of the best. But that sustainable policy, I remember when I was in the Assembly and I was co-author of then Senator Steinberg's Bill 375, SB 375, that created a lot of the incentives for these kind of what you're doing. We didn't, in hindsight, we should have put more incentives and disincentives in that bill. Darrell and I, of course, now he's the mayor of Sacramento. So I would encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, but work with us and the state delegation to help you facilitate the deployment of all your efforts. So planning is great, but the actual deployment. So your TOD is really a suburban example for all around the country.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman. Well, it looks like you're going to get off easy tonight. So appreciate
one of the reasons I love Walnut Creek. Thank you. You know how to get a hold of me. Thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate you taking the time too.
Ditto.
Bye. All right. Our next item is something I'm so excited about. It's a presentation regarding the Heroes Among Us campaign honorees. And I wanted to take a few minutes tonight to recognize some of the bright spots that have surfaced over the past year. When I began my term as mayor in December, we were in a very dark spot with the pandemic. Case numbers were continuing to climb. Many businesses had to once again shut down. Vaccinations were still just a wish and not a reality. And we had so many Walnut Creek community members experiencing financial, physical, and emotional hardship. At the same time, I heard stories about people making a difference in our community, some with big impact, some maybe just a small one, but nonetheless important. With those inspiring stories in mind, we launched our Heroes Among Us campaign, asking residents to share stories of those living or working in our community who had gone above and beyond. From time to time throughout the year, we'll reopen the nomination period and add to our honor roll. And I'm pleased tonight to share the names of our first set of local heroes. The first name is one that we heard about from literally dozens of Walnut Creek residents who were eager to share her story. When the pandemic hit and classrooms shut their doors, the director of one school immediately found a way to make sure students still had access to the performing arts, bringing virtual classes to students while teaching resiliency, spreading hope, inspiring creativity, and encouraging expression during a dark time. This person was recognized for her personal impact in students of all ages. As one person put it, it would be terrific if we had a world full of Jennies. Congratulations to Jenny Perry, director of the Ballet School for Performing Arts. And I should say that my daughter, when she was 3, I don't want to age you here, Jenny, but my daughter was 3, took ballet from Jenny. So Jenny, if you'd like to say a few words, you can unmute yourself.
I'm truly honored and I was so surprised to even get an email, and I'm such a proud business owner here in Walnut Creek. I love Walnut Creek. I've grown up here my whole life, and I'll do anything to keep it thriving. So thank you guys so much. And thank you to the whole city council for taking the time to honor us small businesses. And we can get through this. Create hope. We've got this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Our next honoree provides us with a reminder that the pandemic overshadowed other significant needs in our community. The Cancer Support Community's Chief Mission Officer knew that putting support programs on hold was not an option. In the midst of this new collective crisis, people were facing the personal crisis of cancer still. In less than 24 hours, CSC built secure online spaces for all of the organization's support groups and individual counseling sessions. With her leadership, the Cancer Support Community, members, therapists, instructors, and more came together to provide that vital support in a virtual setting. Our congratulations go out to the Cancer Support Community's Chief Mission Officer, Margaret Stauffer. Her dedication meant that thousands of people facing cancer in our own community still had a place to go for help and hope. And I would like to pause and Margaret, thank you. And if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you so much for this honor. And I really think of it as a testament to our terrific staff. We've been in the Walnut Creek community for 30 years. And this year in particular, we had a singular focus on ensuring that people affected by cancer had access to emotional and psychological support during an incredibly stressful time, where if they went into the hospital, family couldn't come visit them. If there was a death, they couldn't mourn with people that they loved. And so our services really enabled them to keep going. And I just want to express my appreciation to the community and to our staff and to our members. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our final honorees are a Rossmore couple who also sprang into action as soon as the pandemic hit. They recognized the need was going to skyrocket at the Monument Crisis Center and quickly rallied their community to donate 30 truckloads full of food and $100,000 in cash donations. Sandra Scher, executive director of the nonprofit Crisis Center, said that their efforts were such a game changer. In the spring of 2020, it was almost impossible to order food because the national supply chain was nearly broken, and thousands of people were coming to the center for assistance to feed themselves and their families. Through the efforts of these heroes, carload after carload, check after check, and week after week, help came to those who were hungry. It made such a difference for thousands of struggling families and seniors right here in our community. Their dedicated passion to the underserved, along with the generosity of the community of Rossmore, made such a big difference. I want to join Sandra in saying thank you to our final heroes among us, I should say, Rossmore residents, Marilyn and Mark Weiss. And Marilyn and Mark, good to see you on the screen. Thank you so much again, and would love to hear a couple comments you have.
Thank you so much for the honor. I must tell you that very first week when the shutdown hit and I saw what was going on at the Monument Crisis Center, I sort of ran to my husband and said, oh my, we have to do something. And we sprung into action, as you said. He sat down at the computer. We notified every single person we could find, all the Rossmore community, and it all began with generous people being very willing to do something simple. Put the groceries in a bag, put them by your front door, put the check in a bag. We don't even need to see you. Everyone was so frightened that we were able to make our runs with gloves and masks and get all of these things. And it just kept going on and going on. And we are so grateful to have had the opportunity and to have helped get the Rossmore people going. And they were very generous. And I must say my husband was very, very big part of connecting with the community and the clubs here. And it really worked. And we are very grateful.
It's really quite an amazing feat. I can only say that, I mean, there were folks who got their refunds from the government, their stimulus checks, and effectively deposited them and wrote the $1,250 directly over to the Crisis Center. This is pretty amazing. And the fact is that these people are very generous in giving. And I appreciate your recognition of it. It's great.
Thank you both. Thank you both so much. And thank all of you. It's stories like this that have helped get us through the pandemic and put us onto a brighter course. And I'm sure we'll hear more about as we move forward into the different colored tiers and then without a tier in a couple of months. So thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll see you around town.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to all who submitted names of our heroes. We'll be adding to tonight's honorees to our city website, along with the names of others who were nominated. We'll be back next month with another opportunity to share stories of those who made a difference in our community, our Walnut Creek Heroes Among Us. So go to the website and nominate somebody that you know. And now we will move on to our next presentation. I would like to now introduce Mary Fuji and Reshma Anwar of the Walnut Creek Homeless Task Force, who will be presenting on this.
I think Mary is probably rejoining right now. So should I just give her a minute to join?
Sure. If there's something that you would like to kick off as well, you could do that as well.
Okay.
Are we ready to go?
Yep.
We're ready. Hi, Mary.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor Wilk and council members for the opportunity to present the Walnut Creek Homeless Task Force recent activity. I'm Mary Fuji, member of the task force, 35-year resident of Walnut Creek and retired public health nutritionist in the county. I'm joined tonight by fellow task force member and our website master, Reshma Anwar, who's a graduating senior student at Las Lomas High School. The task force appreciates the city council members, city staff, and police department who participate at task force meetings. This is a partnership, and we invite all who are listening and interested to join us at the Walnut Creek Homeless Task Force meetings. It's been a couple years since the task force has given you an update, so I'll start with a brief history. Thank you. Several levels, and it started, the history starts about November 2014. Several areas of the government, including Caltrans, the Walnut Creek Police Department, and the county moved to close homeless encampments, large and small, around the city and the area. This, of course, resulted in a significant dislocation of our unhoused neighbors. The Trinity Center, the Walnut Creek Police Department, and the County Homeless Services Department came together to address this pressing issue and help to develop the Homeless Task Force. They wanted to put together not only their own 3 perspectives, but also to include Walnut Creek residents, downtown business people, healthcare providers, and service providers, in the faith community members and others to work collaboratively. Our mission in the task force is on our website, and basically we seek in our mission statement, we seek best practices to reduce homelessness, identify and develop safety net services, and expand opportunities for affordable, supportive housing. We share the results of our research with the city and others who can assist in the implementation. Our vision is very inclusive. We envision a Walnut Creek where all residents have support for a quality life. And in Walnut Creek, that's parks, education, employment, on and on. But we also see Walnut Creek as a place where everyone has safe, affordable housing. Now, Reshma will tell you about our efforts to engage and inform Walnut Creek residents on this issue.
Thank you, Mary. So over the past year, the Walnut Creek Homeless Task Force has had 2 public forums, 1 virtual forum and 1 in-person forum. Through these forums, we were able to address issues of concern and provide the public with information using a panel of city and county program leaders and staff from Las Lomas High School. We also invited interested attendees to join the task force. These forums were very successful. The Oak Room in the Walnut Creek Library was completely full. Another way we communicate with the public and members of the task force is through our newly made website. Our website gets 81 unique views per week and is packed with lots of information and resources. So just to go over a little bit about what's on the website, this is the frequently asked questions page under the resources tab, and it contains 11 of the most asked questions by the public. And they are answered using video clips from our January 2020 form. And then moving on to our news and reports section, it has reports from the county and the core outreach program, and is the best resource to look at all of the recent data involving homeless in Walnut Creek. So next, this calendar pops up when you click on the events tab. It contains Zoom links to the task force meetings and links for the subcommittees of the task force. And if you're curious about what's happening before and after the meetings, you can look at the meeting minutes and agendas under the About Us tab. Lastly, this video found under the resources for those who are homeless tab shows all of the services that are offered for homeless, and it is a great video to familiarize yourself with what the life of a homeless individual is like. Please check out wchomelesstaskforce.org for more information resources. And now Mary is going to talk a little bit more about the task force's projects.
Thank you, Reshma. So safety net services, that's the area that we are focused on reducing the impact for all city residents and businesses of the negative aspects of homelessness. First, I want to talk about CORE, which is the Coordinated Outreach, Referral, and Engagement Team. I'm sure that you know about this because Walnut Creek has its special sub-team that looks at Walnut Creek in particular. And the CORE team works with the city police department in offering a very helpful doorway for social and medical services where our unhoused neighbors live and where they are. So it's exceptionally helpful. Other issues that we're addressing are showers and storage lockers. And if you think about it for a minute, this is a very pressing problem for those who are unhoused. We're researching solutions from other cities who have these services. We're looking for funds to support them in Walnut Creek, and we're looking for others to help us join us in implementing something like this. Next is the Safe Parking Program. You'll remember that we had a pilot that was hosted by St. John Vianney Catholic Church on Ignacio Valley Road. Trinity Center was the manager. And for those who participated in this program, it was very successful. The participants stressed the comfort that was provided by the security and the way that they joined together as a little community there in the parking lot where they slept. However, this is an expensive program, and COVID derailed it because COVID had to force the church to close, and therefore the Safe Parking Program closed. So we need to look at this program evaluation and find changes for the long-term sustainability. And lastly, trash disposal. You're probably aware of the community group of volunteers who clean up trash along the city's streets and parks and trails. One of the two conveners of this volunteer group came to the homeless task force and told us about San Jose's Cash for Trash. So we're looking into San Jose's project and working with this community of volunteers to address the trash and litter problem. The bottom line is that we continue to search for mitigation strategies and implementation. Next, I want to talk about affordable housing and shelter. Here we're working on our vision. We applaud the city's support for affordable housing, like the 699 Ignacio Valley Road and Habitat for Humanity projects. In addition to these two projects, in addition to the previously established housing, is great because it's homelessness prevention. With rising rents and salaries that are not keeping up with the rental increases, and people who've been laid off, affordable housing is really a cornerstone for our community. The task force continues to research strategies to provide both shelter and supportive affordable housing for those who are already homeless. We're bringing the research that we've done to the Housing and Community Development Council Committee and other resources to work on a Walnut Creek specific solution. In fact, our next task force meeting, which is tomorrow at 2 p.m., will include a presentation from an organization called the Casita Coalition. And in this presentation, we'll see how tiny homes have been used in other locations, and we'll discuss this option for use here in Walnut Creek. To join us in this task force meeting, go to our webpage calendar for the Zoom meeting link. Many projects in our to-do list just need interested people to join the task force. So we invite everyone to come be a part of this community effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Raishma. Don't leave yet.
Okay.
Check to see if there's any questions from the City Council. Councilmember Haskew.
It has been my learning experience that I have attended a significant number of the task force meetings, and it is amazing to watch dedicated people make significant differences in people's lives. And so I personally want to thank all of the volunteers who have joined the thing. It is totally, essentially volunteer, and you get as involved as you want, and they do a good job, and they constantly look for new and creative ideas to make the unhoused lives better. I personally want to thank Mary and Raishma because y'all stepped to the plate and came to the city and shared your accomplishments. And so thank you very much for being here and doing what you do. It was as important as almost anything else. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Luella said. You guys have done a great job, and I just love the amount of effort and energy that goes into that task force. I appreciate everybody in the community that works on it.
Thank you.
Cindy.
Thank you very much, Mary, and also Raishma for being here, but also many of your cohorts are in the audience tonight, and thanks to all of them as well. It is a group of people that are not simply those who work for Trinity Center or who work for Loaves and Fishes or the county core team. It is a group of dedicated community members who truly believe that the only thing that we need to do is to stop homelessness, to prevent it, and to address it when it does occur. So thank you for your dedication. I know some programs have been put on abeyance, but others had to come forward, such as Project Home Key and Project Room Key. And I know you've been involved in those as well. So thank you, and looking forward to the many future things that you will be doing.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Francois.
I want to echo my colleagues and thank you for your dedication and service to our community, and really just thinking of practical ways like to restore dignity to people, to have a shower or a place to safeguard their belongings, really basic things that we take for granted. And I really appreciate your efforts to try to ensure that everyone has that opportunity. So thank you.
And I'll wrap it up by also agreeing and echoing my fellow council members' comments. Without the help of the work that you do, these people have less resources, and they're residents of Walnut Creek too. They don't have homes, but they're residents. And so thank you so much for the dedication that you and everybody else that's involved in this. And Raishma, the fact that you've shown this as well with the younger generation now and getting you and your peers involved, this is huge, because this is a situation that we know isn't going away overnight, and your involvement over the course of the years to come will be really, really important. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mary, and we'll see you around town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we have a presentation on the Presidential Service Awards, and I would like to invite Hadil Jadri, chairperson of the Youth Leadership Commission, to discuss and present the Presidential Service Awards.
Good evening, Mayor Wilk, Mayor Pro Tem Francois, Council Members Silva, Haskew, and Darling, city staff, and members of the public. My name is Hadil, and this is my second year serving on the Youth Leadership Commission. Youth Commission is made up of 15 youth who are eager to learn about government, represent the youth voice at City Hall, and make tangible contributions to the community through yearly projects. I also have Abigail, Michelle, and Colin here with me tonight to help give out the awards. The Youth Commission sponsors the President's Volunteer Service Award Program, which was founded in 2003 by the then President's Council on Service and Civic Participation. This award recognizes the important role of volunteers in America's strength and identity. It honors individuals whose service positively impacts communities in every corner of the nation and inspires those around them to take action too. In 2020, 3 Presidential Service Award recipients for the City of Walnut Creek provided 490 hours in volunteer service total. I will now hand it off to Abigail, Colin, and Michelle to introduce the 2021 recipients.
Hi everyone, I'm Abigail and this is my second year on the commission. So the first recipient of this award is Mira Chakradev. Here are Mira's accomplishments that have earned her this award. She volunteered 260 hours making blankets and sorting donated clothes for babies in need. She also helped organize school supplies and book drives for younger children in need. Additionally, she organized and implemented toy drives for homeless children and made holiday care packages for senior citizens, along with mentoring algebra and geometry students weekly. She also worked as a part of the Student Advisory Committee to set up mentoring opportunities and promote STEM learning opportunities. And lastly, she helped run and promote student leadership and interest in education policy. Congratulations, Mira.
Thank you. Hey, Colin, I think you just hopped on, but
Yeah.
introduce yourself.
So my name is Colin. This is my first year on the Youth Commission, and our next recipient is Sina Farhadi. You might recognize him from the Youth Commission, where he also serves with us. And Sina has volunteered for 115 hours this year, encouraging youth to get civically engaged within their communities, as well as helping with the Census 2020 outreach, working on projects relating to education and equity, and providing administrative support for environmental sustainability pertaining to transportation. Congratulations, Sina.
Lastly, we have Bridget Tucker. Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to award Bridget Tucker with the Presidential Service Award. Bridget volunteered 115 hours at the Lindsay Wildlife Experience as an animal ambassador for animals that could not return to the wild. She also participated in remote learning on topics of conversation and environmental education. She led discussions, gave presentations, and served as a role model for peers interested in STEM and the environment. Congratulations, Bridget.
Thank you. Thank you, Abigail, Colin, and Michelle. So Bridget, Sina, and Mira, I hope you're all very, very proud of what you've accomplished. COVID has no doubt taken a lot from us, but it's refreshing to see that the love for community service is still intact. Finally, for those folks watching, if we've inspired you to volunteer and help our community, please consider giving your time to help with the Community Service Day food drive. There are 2 main ways to get involved. You can help distribute flyers around your neighborhood to promote the drive between Saturday, April 10th and Friday, April 16th. You can also help at grocery store collection stations on April 17th. A few of us commissioners will be there as well. Please Google City of Walnut Creek Community Service Food Drive to sign up and get more information. Thank you to everyone and have a great night.
Thank you, Hadil. A few of us council members will be there too. Thank you. And it's so great to be able to honor people, our residents, both fully fledged adults and still young adults. This is what makes up Walnut Creek, these kind of above and beyond what residents often do. And seeing this is wonderful. We love to be able to provide these presentations and recognitions. Any council members wish to say a few words? Well, thank you so much, Hadil and the Youth Commission and all of the recipients of the Presidential Service Awards. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the consent calendar. Does any council member wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion? Okay, evidently not. Does any member of the public wish to comment on an item on the consent calendar? Please use the raised hand feature or press *9 if you're connected by audio only, if you'd like to provide a public comment. For those who desire to provide public comment on the consent calendar item only, this is not public communication yet, please raise your hand now. As a reminder, each speaker will have 2 minutes to make their oral remarks. The Zoom feed for each speaker will cut off automatically at 2 minutes. Written comments submitted have been and will be posted to the city's website for public review and are included in the meeting record, but will not be separately read into the record. At this time, I'll ask the city clerk if there are any members of the public who would like to provide comments.
Mayor, I don't see any hands raised for the consent calendar.
Okay. Seeing no speakers, I'll ask the council if anyone would like to make a motion with regard to the consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, I will move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
We have the motion and a second. City clerk, can you please take the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Francois,
Aye.
Councilmember Silva,
Aye.
Councilmember Darling,
Aye.
Councilmember Haskew,
Aye.
Mayor Wilk.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. And now we come to public communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for comment on items not on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the council cannot act on items raised during public communications, but may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed, request clarification, or refer the item to staff. Consistent with Section 9.5 of the City Council Handbook, 30 minutes will be allocated at this time for public communications for items not on the agenda. Additional time for public communications for items not on the agenda will be provided at the end of the meeting if necessary. We'll start the public comments now at 6:54 and we'll continue for 30 minutes until 7:24. In the event that we do not receive all public communication now, the council will accept additional public communication from new speakers following item 4. So Susie, could you bring in the first?
Yes, our first speaker is Kathy Hicks.
This is former Mayor Kathy Hicks.
Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Good evening, Mayor Wilk and council members. My name is Kathy Hicks, and I'm speaking as president of the Walnut Creek Library Foundation. First, I want to thank all of you for your strong ongoing support of our Walnut Creek libraries. During the past year, when we've had to stay apart, we have realized that libraries are more valuable than ever. Our libraries have continued to serve the community through expanded virtual programs, ebooks, and front door book pickup service. Tomorrow, April 7th, is National Giving Day. I'm sorry. Tomorrow, April 7th, is National Library Giving Day, and an annual event to bring financial support to public libraries across the country. The Walnut Creek Library Foundation is participating in National Library Giving Day as part of our ongoing work to raise funds for our local libraries. The funds needed to enhance library service and to offer great programs to patrons of all ages. I'm excited to announce that anyone who makes a donation to the Walnut Creek Library Foundation tonight or tomorrow will have their contributions matched dollar for dollar, thanks to a generous grant from the library supporters, the Simpson family. But it gets even better. The Walnut Creek Library Foundation has received a supply of Brad Rovanpera's beautifully written and lavishly illustrated book, Walnut Creek, An Illustrated History. By contributing $50 or more on Library Giving Day, you will receive a free copy of this beautiful coffee table book. You can donate to the Walnut Creek Library Foundation online at wclibrary.org. That's wclibrary.org. Your support truly makes a difference. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at the library.
Thank you, Kathy.
Our next speaker is Catherine Wally.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members and staff. I'm Catherine Wally, resident of Walnut Creek, pronouns she, her. I would like to thank each of you for submitting an official letter on behalf of the city of Walnut Creek in support of the Miles Hall Lifeline Act. AB 988 will create a pathway by which people who are experiencing behavioral health crises are more likely to be met with compassionate care. Earlier this evening, I attended the Danville Town Council meeting and urged their council and residents alike to follow suit by writing letters in support of this legislation. I'm happy to report that their council has already submitted official letters of support. I also ask that they throw their unequivocal support towards the countywide effort to establish the 24/7 non-police crisis response pilot program. It was only last month that I spoke at our council meeting about the death of Angela Quinto. Now the Danville community has also lost one of their community members, Tyrell Wilson, a young Black man who was living with a mental illness when he was fatally shot in the face by a Danville police officer. This same officer also fatally shot Lautimer Arboleda, a Filipino-American who was experiencing a mental health crisis when he was killed less than 3 years.
I attended the Golden Rain Foundation board meeting on March 25th and provided them the freshly adopted priorities that we had adopted, as well as the stimulus or the American Rescue Plan funding that the Congressman DeSaulnier referenced earlier, and inform them of the appointment of Interim Chief Pratt. Attended the Recycle Smart board meeting, as Councilmember Silva had alluded to, and in addition to her report, we held a closed session on our director's performance evaluation. And let's see, I did attend as well with several of my colleagues, the East Bay Division meeting where on resetting the local economy. And I agreed with Councilmember Silva's assessment that it seemed to me that it was a good presentation, and that I was impressed that it seems like we're doing a lot of the things that he recommended, including the public benefit zoning and using development agreements to get public benefits through development projects. The one item I'd like to explore more and see if we can take advantage of is this idea of enhanced infrastructure financing districts, particularly with regard to some of the major infrastructure projects we have in our downtown, our specific plan areas. I will be handing out flyers this weekend for Community Service Day for the food drive on the 17th. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Silva.
I apologize. I needed to ask the city manager a question. I have received, a number of us may have received emails regarding an item that was to be on our agenda tonight. And I'm actually unclear as to what that item is, because I can't even find it, that it's actually been through any public process. I can't find any minutes. Can somebody just give me what we will be asked to do at the next meeting regarding that?
I'm pulling that up. I admittedly closed the agenda because I thought we were done with that part. So bear with me just a moment for what 2B was, or is that related to the business improvement?
And I think it's called Citrus Courtyard.
Oh, that was removed. Yeah, so that is a request from a developer for the council to consider authorizing the pursuit of a general plan amendment regarding a commercial property to be changed to allow for housing and residential. So,
right, so it's a pre-application.
That's correct. And so it will be re-noticed, and our intention is to hold that at our next council meeting.
All right, so no other commission has actually seen this yet. This is the first public hearing on this, or public.
I believe that's the case. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I'll wrap up the comments with my own. I attended the County Connection meeting, and we discussed Bill AB 476, which is the bus driving on shoulder bill. That's in freeways. And I'm sure my fellow council member Haskew is very familiar with this, but County Connection is in support of this, which will help public transit efficiency and shorten commute times. That's what we all want, right? I'll give another shout out to National Library Giving Day. We heard from former Mayor Kathy Hicks, who's now on the Library Foundation. And it's when libraries across the country are raising funds for the library's needs to enhance their service and their programs. And so please go on to the Walnut Creek Library site and you're able to get more information on that and be able to give a little. I also attended the Contra Costa County Mental Health Crisis Response Report presentation last week. Great to see the progress on this. As people are aware, the council has been in full support of this, and the public can view this on the CCTV website, the progress on that. I did want to mention that several council members referred to the priorities that the council voted on a couple weeks ago, but we hadn't actually said them. So for those who don't know what the council priorities are, we voted on 5, and in alphabetical order, they are diversity, equity, and inclusion, economic development and COVID recovery, environmental sustainability and climate action, infrastructure and facilities, and social wellness and public safety. And there's more details on those. You can check those out on the city website, but those are the 5 priorities that we will be working toward over the next couple of years. As well as I wanted to just give a quick notice, Councilmember Haskew brought this up regarding the sustainable Contra Costa, and the website for that is sustainablecoco.org. It's a terrific website, gives an incredible amount of information and resources, like what step-by-step instructions and how-to guides for your own household. So it's sustainablecoco.org. And thank you so much, Luella, for bringing that up. And then lastly, a bittersweet note, Fred Weston has resigned from the Park Recreation and Open Space Commission. He's a longtime resident commissioner, and he and his wife Carla have moved to Arizona, near part of some of their family. They'll be missed. And we now have an opening on the Pros Commission that will be filled. So good luck to Fred and Carla and their family. And I believe that brings us to adjournment of the City Council meeting. And so we will see all of you again on April 20th in 2 weeks. Have a good night, everyone.